For people who are interested in looking at the history of AI, that movie is worth looking. I mean, definitely worth seeing at least once, if not a couple of times. And particularly because Minsky was an advisor to the movie. And that makes it even more interesting because that was the thought process Turing had. He gave the imitation game, as you said. And in 1952, in a BBC interview, he actually said that he believed that by the year 2000, 7 out of 10 jurors would be fooled by the computer. So he actually believed that 2000, this would happen. An artificial general intelligent computer would happen.
And when do you think it's going to happen? Is it 2030? Is it already? Is it 2040?
So this is a very interesting question. So these guys, and that's why I credit them a lot, and I actually, the first few chapters are written in their memory because I think they were geniuses and pioneers, but they had it wrong. And I mean, that's the part of hype and getting all caught up in it. So these guys were really, Turing unfortunately passed away in early 50s, but McCarthy and Minsky continued. And then, of course, they would have massive discussions in MIT with social scientists and others, and who said, look, this is not possible because humans have emotions, and to have emotions, you have to live like a human. And then the hype was there in 1960s, 50s and 60s, and it went down in 1970s. And a very interesting article came out in 1977 in New York Times, a newspaper. The reporter asked John McCarthy, when do you think, because by that time the hype had gone bust. And he asked a very interesting question. So, sir, when do you think artificial general intelligence would occur? And his answer was equally deep. He says, perhaps in 5 years, perhaps in 500 years. What you need is 1.7 Einsteins and 0.3 Manhattan projects. So he realized by that time the gravity of the situation, that you really need, I mean, seriously, you need paradigm shifts. Like Einstein created a massive paradigm shift to what Newtonian physics was. And he pointed out that it is 1.7 Einsteins. And by the way, Manhattan Project was the largest project of its kind set by the US government in 1930s, late 1930s, early 1940s, which created the atomic bomb. And it was at that time worth about $2 billion, the largest government project ever funded, worth about 25 billion if you take inflation, or 30 billion if you take inflation into account. So 0.3 Manhattan projects to me seems like on the low side, because that's $9 billion today. Just for research alone, even that for the world is a relatively a low number. Probably it may be more like 3 or 4 times Manhattan project. The more important part is the paradigm shift, the 1.7 Einsteins, which we don't have anywhere close. So yes, deep learning networks and other algorithms and data would help us in many, many places where we need help, where they will make us more efficient as humans. But getting to artificial general intelligence, I don't see it happening in any time in the near future, because I don't see even 0.3 Einsteins anywhere.